Urban gardening involves a mishmash of techniques and approaches to growing and harvesting food in densely populated urban centers. Because of the very nature of urban centers, there's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but rather a plethora of practices that are undertaken by a community. The community our group focused on was the Mapleton-Fall Creek neighborhood, a historic neighborhood in Indianapolis that is now considered to be a food desert. The USDA defines a food desert as an area vapid of fresh fruits, vegetables, and other healthful whole foods. This is largely due to the lack of grocery stores, farmers markets, and healthy food providers in the area. Those living in the neighborhood without reliable transportation are affected the most by the lack of food access. Through our research, we recognized 3 distinct gardening resources members of the community utilize to overcome their produce insecurity: the Fall Creek Garden, the Mid-North Food Pantry, and home gardening. At its inception in 2011, located on Central Avenue, Fall Creek Gardens was supported by private donors, various religious organizations, and the Mapleton Fall Creek Community Development Corporation. The vision of Fall Creek Gardens adjusted to a variety of sociological, environmental, and logistical challenges as it attempted to take root in the community. The Fall Creek Garden is turning a new leaf this season.
It starts with these plots that will soon sprout veggies and fruits near the corner of 30th and Central.
Right now what you're looking at is a garden before everything gets planted. This is the beginning stages of what gardens look like.
For just $20, residents can claim one of these plots. And with that comes lessons on how to plant and grow food, even if there is no grocery store in sight.
Nearby is the Mid-North Food Pantry. Located in the lower level of the Trinity Outreach Center, in 2014, the pantry started a small garden, which is located behind the building with 4 garden beds. They have slowly grown and now have a garden shed that was built and donated by a local Boy Scout, a homemade composting barrel that has offered more nutrients for the garden, and the pantry has plans to build 3 more garden beds for the upcoming season. The garden is run by a part-time employee of the pantry with help from volunteers coming from local schools and churches. The vegetables that are grown in the garden consist of peppers, tomatoes, herbs, kale, and colored greens. These vegetables were chosen because of their hardiness and ease of growth and harvesting. The garden uses a watering system that is set on a timer to water the garden beds. One of the main issues that the garden and food pantry runs into is the lack of manpower that is needed to maintain it. The need for volunteers is constant, wanting to draw in as many people from the community as possible to keep the pantry and garden running. The garden brings a sense of pride to the Mid-North Food Pantry. The demand for fresh vegetables in the pantry outnumbers the supply that the garden provides, but the new growth of the garden brings promise for the future.
Compared to community gardening, where resources can be shared, home gardeners may experience difficulty accessing supplies such as soil or fertilizer. According to one home gardener, getting started is really the most challenging part. Once beds are established and supplies are acquired, home gardening can be simple. Most prefer it if they do not have a lot of time to spend away from their home.
Each of these methods are contributing to a better community. Creating urban gardens provides access to great food, job opportunities, and brings a sense of pride to the neighborhood. The gardeners have come a long way, but there is always room to grow.